Hello and welcome back to the Stop and Think YouTube channel, the place where we pause to question our thoughts, our behaviors, and our actions to make sure that we are steering life and life isn't steering us. I wanted to take a step back and talk a little bit more about the inspiration for the Stop and Think YouTube channel and what I hope to capture in it. Stop and Think is about finding places in life where you can't rely on information as it comes to you or intuition or momentum. I have a fascination with principles that are counterintuitive. Some of these things we know because they've already been studied, like the bystander effect. Others take a little bit more time to unpack, and still others lend themselves to lengthy conversations. The element of momentum here is key because you have to break momentum in order to reanalyze what you find to be true, or maybe find that counterintuitive answer, or find the answer to the question that you never thought to ask. Now, I wanted to share a little bit more about myself and a few glimpses in my experience where I've started to unearth these principles. The first one came, or at least the first one that I can recall, came when I was 10 years old. Now, at that age, I was already quick to push against conformity for conformity's sake. And I had a really strong personality, have. And while some people would quickly gravitate towards me, others would be quickly repelled. My best friend at the time, it was clear to state that being liked was important to her, but I began to question the cost. I realized that not everyone is going to like you anyway. So at the end of the day, you might as well be disliked for who you are than disliked for who you're not. There are places to be amicable, of course. This is just my 10-year-old self talking, right? And this age was perfect for this kind of introspection because the teenage years mark the transition from seeking approval from our parents to seeking approval from our peers. Okay, so maybe actually I really messed that one up, but it probably kept me out of, some trouble in high school because I didn't really care about peer pressure and was more than happy to be the odd one out. Now, the next experience that I wanted to talk about came in college, and in college is where I started getting experience dating and with relationships, because remember, I was kind of awkward in high school. It's so natural to want to be in a relationship for the comforts that it provides, okay, mostly physical at that age. And in those years, that's where I realized you have to call out inertia where it takes hold in life. I realized I was mistaking a lack of energy pulling that relationship apart for a positive energy keeping it together. In other words, I found myself asking, am I actively engaged and interested in this relationship? Or am I just in it because I'm already in it? I'll try to find another time to see how that plays out a little bit differently in marriage. I'm only just under 10 years in. Going back to college, it was pretty sad to realize that the guy I was dating was someone I probably wouldn't even be friends with. This type of introspection, it means we have to be comfortable with recognizing our own flaws, or at least our flawed rationalizations for bad choices. Finally, my most life-changing moment came in Israel. I was there with a group, and we were on a tour of the Holocaust Museum. Now, at the end of this tour, there was an Israeli soldier. There were a group of Israeli soldiers that accompanied us, okay? And one of them decided to strike up a conversation with me. And just a few minutes in, he asked me, do you think your grandchildren are going to have a strong connection to their Jewish identity? Well, that's direct. Now, I took a step back and realized that I had to answer a much deeper level to that question, which was, did I even care? Was that important to me? Now, that singular moment in Israel changed my life and solidified for me this falsehood that we are taught. Now, somewhere along the way, maybe in business school or in a self-help book, we are taught that our actions are driven by our thoughts, and our thoughts are motivated by our beliefs. Sounds nice and tidy, right? But humans are way more complex than that. I mean, first of all, those things don't always align because we know we make mistakes. But in that moment, I realized that my actions were very clear. My thoughts were traceable and logical, but my beliefs, those are pretty fuzzy. Now, it's really easy to absorb our goals in life through our environment and follow on a path that aligns with those goals? How often do we just stop and question not just what we want, but why? It's hard to recognize these things, like as we're living in them. And sometimes life gives us these aha moments, like I had in Israel. And, these aha moments are universally recognizable, right? Maybe it's some moment where you need to take control, make a change, start something new, or just say, fuck this. Human stories of triumph are born out of challenge. It's not so natural to question the path that we're on when things are good. But what about questioning things when they're just okay? Why wait for the shoe to drop? Maybe we can create these aha moments by taking the time to hit a mental pause instead of waiting to hit a wall. Hence, stop and think. Most importantly, stopping and thinking isn't about finding answers. It's about finding questions. Again, it's not about finding answers. It's about finding questions. Is it more important to be liked or to be genuine? Why am I in this relationship? What family values and traditions are important to me? Asking these questions helps frame our life goals so that we can continue to pursue them when things get tough or when we just don't feel like it on a given day. Now, I've been inspired to think through these things by various sources, including rabbinic scholars like Rabbi Akiva Tatz, Chief Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks, the work of Dan Ariely, Jordan Peterson, Jocko Willink, Dan Pinker, and Sheena Iyengar, just to name a few. Are you going to wait for some external catalyst to drive this kind of introspection? Okay, I have a personal life motto. Good things come to those who wait, but better things come to those who pursue. So let's pursue these life-isms together. Now, of course, I'm still figuring this whole thing out for myself, but hopefully what I find interesting and inspiring resonates with you, and we can start diving into some more substantive topics to draw a distinction between what we assume, what we are taught, and what we believe, and uncover the truth. If all that left you curious, then check out my future Stop and Think content. And as always, stay in the driver's seat. Thanks. Hoping that what I find interesting, I can't say interesting, but what I'm hoping is that what I find interesting, I can't say the word interesting.